HiBrow, Classic British Cinema, Quadrophenia. Interview with Phil Davis, Chalky. Is Quadrophenia a film that you are particularly fond of?
It was the first big movie I was in. I'd done two other films. I'd done a Reader's Digest film of the old Curiosity Shop with Anthony Newley. But, you know, when I heard that this was happening, everybody wanted to be in Quadrophenia. We were all Who fans, you know, and it was right up my street, so I was longing to be in it. And we had such a great time making it. And, you know, you make friends. It's 35 years ago now, and we're still friends.
Was there a buzz about Quadrophenia around the time it was cast?
I heard about it from a writer I knew called Barry Keefe, who there was a possibility that he might write the script. Then he couldn't do it because he was working on a play for the National Theatre. So I knew about it early. I got my agent onto it, obviously, and got myself an audition. And then I was shortlisted. There were three of us that were screen tested for the part of Jimmy, and myself, Phil Daniels, who subsequently went on to play it, and John Lydon, Johnny Rotten, who was the other one. The three of us were sort of bumping into each other at Wembley Studios, going in one at a time to do these scenes. Anyway, Phil got Jimmy, and I was offered Chalky. But it was a great part, so I was delighted.
What was different about being in this film to the others you'd worked on before?
We didn't do rehearsals, but we did sort of preparation. We found out about the 60s music, the 60s fashions. We met some old mods who were coming out of the woodwork, you know, because this was only 1978, so it was only like 15 years after the thing had started and all that. We went out to dances together, and we kind of bonded as a group. We had lessons to learn how to ride bikes. They couldn't give us scooters, so they gave us mopeds so we could learn how to ride out in traffic and stuff like that. And so it was just sort of enormous fun. And then the first 2 weeks of the shoot was in Brighton for the big riot scenes. And that was a hoot, you know. We were all away from home. We were all very young, staying in hotels, hardly going to bed, being very silly and having a fantastic time. And there was a kind of area of extemporization around the script. You know, we were encouraged by Frank to make stuff up and offer stuff up, so we weren't sticking verbatim to the dialogue. And so you know, you felt a kind of proprietorial love for this thing that you were making. It was great.
Although you'd have been too young to take part, do you remember the culture and the events being depicted in the film?
I mean, I remember the mod phenomenon. I remember all those riots happening in Margate and Brighton and all that, and I remember my dad saying bloody yobbos and all that sort of stuff going on. And I have an older brother who's 6 years older, so although he wasn't a mod, he didn't have a scooter. I mean, he loved all the music and all that. So yeah, it was just a sort of arm's length away.
Starting shooting the film with the riot scenes must have felt like diving headlong in.
Well, it was fantastic. I mean, the whole of Brighton was transformed. There were all these kids on scooters and all these bikers everywhere. It must have been for the people who live in Brighton like a trip down memory lane, you know. And they all used to come out and watch us filming, and you'd get mixed up between what was the real-life coppers and the old-fashioned ones and all that. And, you know, when there's 150 of you running up the street, you know, you're not really sure what's going on or where the camera is or what the shot is, you know. So there was a kind of wonderful madness about the whole thing.
The involvement of The Who must have made being in the movie all the more exciting.
Yeah, as soon as I heard it was on, I went and got I had the album in my collection, so I went and put it on and was looking through the photographs, you know, of the original and wondering what kind of script they'd make of it.
How was it working with Franc Roddam, a young first-time director?
I mean, I was 25, so he wasn't that much older than me, really. So you felt like you were working with one of your contemporaries, someone you could talk to who would respond to the same things in the same ways that you did. And he was great. I mean, but for a young man, he had tremendous authority. He had tremendous balls, Frank. You know, he wasn't going to let anybody tell him how to do it. He knew what he wanted and how to get it. You know, he kind of set us free. We were encouraged to offer stuff up, like I said, and so it felt.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?